Shalom to the elect of Israel, to the hopeful elect of Israel, you Hebrew Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians. Gotta give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, the Most High, the Heavenly Father's Hebrew name is Yahweh, not Yahweh, not Jehovah, not God, not Elohim, not Most High, not Lord, not Yah, not Jah, not Ahaya, not Allah. It's Yahweh. And its only begotten Son name in the Hebrew is Yahweh Shah. Not Yahshua, not Yeshua, not Jesus Christos, not Jesus Christ, not Serapis Christos, not Yeshua, not Yehoshua. It's Yahweh Shah. So we gotta give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, who teach well, who are the apostles and elders of all of Israel, whether accepted or not. An essential salutation to all the Akim, pushing this truth and believing this truth throughout the four ends of the earth, the entire world, waking up the hope for the elect. And shalom to the Outlaws who are listening and learning, the few sisters who are listening and learning. I'm Isaiah from Jim Messalano Camp, coming at you another lesson in truth, facts, faith, and edification. Another daily edification, Lord willing, it's be edifying. And I title this lesson, Speaking Prophecy into Existence, which this lesson is dealing with World War III, the rumors of wars. And we see what's playing out, man. Rumors of wars, man. This is a part of prophecy. So I'm gonna read these two precepts and then we're gonna play these clips that I got. So this is Revelation chapter 9 and 12. It reads, one woe is past, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter. This is Revelation 11 and 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. This is about prophecy of World War III, man. And every day is always something in the news, man, about Russia, man. North Korea, China. It's always about Russia. North America, Russia, China, about rumors of wars. So, let me pull this. Lord, wouldn't it be edifying? Make sure it's sharing. All right, so we're going to check this out. I got two clips. Now, if you see this title, it say U.S. would defend Taiwan in war. China says ready for war. This is the point I want to do on this lesson. It say NATO reveals plans for nuclear war with Russia. Why is Russia always in the news, man? Because Ezekiel 38 is the prophecy about Russia, man. So this is from the chick. The channel is Dina Calmeda, however you pronounce her name. So let me turn this volume down. It's only 10 minutes, and we're gonna get some precepts. This is prophecy, man. So check this out.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. It's Dina Calmetta here. And for today's report, I do have quite a few headlines I'd like to share with you. And I'd like to start with this report in regards to China and Taiwan. It is being reported that the U.S. Secretary of Defense has reiterated a vow made by Joe Biden this week that Washington would support Taiwan militarily if attacked by China, seemingly in a break with traditional U.S. policy. It goes on further to report that speaking at a press conference, U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin reiterated Washington's resolute commitment to NATO and its sacred obligation to the bloc's Article 5, and asked whether the U.S. would defend Taiwan if attacked by China. Austin doubled down on U.S. backing for Taipei after Joe Biden vowed to support the island nation against Beijing On Thursday, Austin promised that the U.S. would continue to help Taipei with its defense capabilities, stating that we remain committed to the One China policy, as we've done under multiple administrations. We will continue to help Taiwan with resources and capabilities that it needs to defend itself. Austin has also stated that he would not engage in any hypotheticals concerning exactly what the U.S. would do if China attacked the island nation, which Beijing regards as part of its mainland. He added that nobody wants to see a conflict erupt. But on Thursday, Biden raised eyebrows when he responded to a student's question about Taiwan at a CNN forum by vowing to support the island and saying that he was not worried about Chinese military development. While Biden claimed that the U.S. had made a commitment to defend Taiwan, the TRA Act, which governs relations between the two, does not contain any mutual defense treaty. It goes on finally to report that Austin also pledged to collectively work with European partners to ensure that the Indo-Pacific area region remains free and open. Now, in the meantime, the Chinese Foreign Ministry has hit back at the U.S. and demanded Washington adhere to the One China principle after Joe Biden said that America was ready and more than strong enough to defend Taiwan. Speaking at a regular press conference on Friday, the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman insisted that Beijing would not compromise on its core interests, stating that Taiwan is a part of China's territory and the Taiwan part is purely China's internal affair, and no external interference is allowed. The spokesman told gathered press, insisting that no one should underestimate the Chinese people's determination to defend national sovereignty and territorial integrity. He called on the U.S. to strictly abide by the One China principle and diplomatic agreement made between Washington and Beijing. The spokesman said that Washington should be careful as to not send a wrong signal with regards to Taiwan's independence, threatening a worsening of Sino-U.S. relations. In the meantime, 5 Russian jets flew too close to Alaska without entering U.S. or Canadian airspace, according to American military officials. The Alaskan North American Aerospace Defense Region said it had detected, tracked, and identified the Russian aircraft entering the ADIZ zone. The ADIZ extends around the shores of the U.S. and Canada and is monitored by civilian air traffic control authorities.
Hey, and what's crazy about this is how it's a NATO and Moscow tension spike, right? When you read Obadiah 1:7, the prophecy is the end all be all is that the nations that's joined to America is going to separate, man. So even though we seeing, as it say, NATO and Moscow tension spike, right? Well, these nations is going to leave Babylon the Great, man. That's prophecy. Let me read this. This is Matthew 24:3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us what shall these, it say, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming, and of the end of the world, right? So one of them was this, verse 6, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. So we all we hear about is rumors of wars, man. And it's little small wars going on, man. Well, I don't know if I'm pronouncing what they call them, proxy wars. Well, these little small wars that's going back and forth, man. These are rumors of wars, man. Right? Now, the Lord say these nations is going to separate. This is Mark chapter 3 and 24. So even though it seems like they still together, they ain't, man. This is Mark 3 and 24. And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, because he the one that established these nations to be joined to him, right? It say, and if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand but have an end. This is Luke 11 and 27. It reads, in Luke 11 and 17, Salakia, but he knowing their thoughts, saying unto them, Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and a house divided against it, and a house divided against a house falleth. This is Proverbs 15 and 22. Without counsel, proposals are disappointed, but in the multitude of counselors, they are established. What is established? The counsel, right? So, this is the counsel of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shema Shah. As I tell you in Proverbs 21 and 1, right? The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. So, what's going on is this is Yahweh Shema Shah moving these chess pieces strategically, man. This is Proverbs 20 and 18. Every purpose is established by counsel, and with good advice make war. So, what in Salakia, Exodus 15 and 3, it said that the Lord is a man of war, right? So, this is the Lord stirring this up, man. So, even though we see you got NATO still joining Babylon the Great, hey, prophecy reads that they're going to separate. Now, this is Obadiah chapter 1, verse 7. It reads, all the men, this is the Lord talking to Esau Edom. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. And we know every nation is joined to this devil through the UN, right? EU and NATO. Well, we saw the Brexit. We saw what the Brexit was about. That was Great Britain separated from North America, man. It's a Obadiah 1 and 7, all the men of that confederacy. And you can read about all these men that's joined to Esau Edom in Psalms 83, man. It say, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee, right? This was past tense. This talking about future tense. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. Meaning they was taken in, meaning North America was taken down, man. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. What does it mean by these nations that eat the bread of Babylon the Great? This devil pulled the sword out and said, hey, you either going to get down and lay down, man. What did they do with this guy Gaddafi, man? They got rid of him. Why? Because he was trying to create his own currency, man, not to be joined to Babylon the Great, right? This guy, what is that? Fidel Castro, man. What they do? They moved him out the way. And just like they did Osama and Saddam Hussein. They don't want to play ball with North America. Hey, they're gonna get rid of you, man. So it say all the men and say they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. This devil went around the world through the four corners of the earth with the sword and said, you're either gonna adapt to the petrodollar or we're gonna destroy you, man. So, but that go back into Revelation 17 when the Lord say that he made all these nations agree, right? And the one mind to the beast. It say they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. So they've been playing this devil. Why? Because the Lord say, there is none understanding in him. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee, have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Right? Everybody said they goods here in Babylon the Great. So they that eat their bread, right? They laid a wound under this devil, man, because he don't have no understanding. So I'm gonna finish this and I'm gonna get some more precepts. So we see, even though we see this, we know, according to prophecy, man, that these nations, the allies of Babylon the Great, is gonna separate and shoot missiles over here, man.
And the militaries of both countries. Now, the aircraft were operating in international airspace and left the zone at 7:21 p.m., according to the statement. But the statement did not specify how close the Russian planes buzzed the U.S., which is only 2 miles away from Russia at its closest point. It also did not say what kind of Russian planes they were, nor did it say U.S. aircraft had to be scrambled. It goes finally to report that an Air Force commander said in a statement that the U.S. military would be vigilant in their execution of aerospace warning and aerospace control for North America. He added that it did not take measures to deter strategic competitors from threatening the shared interests of the U.S., allies, or partners. But we want to keep in mind that this incident comes just 2 days after Russia's defense ministry said 2 of its Su-30 warplanes escorted 2 U.S. B-1 bombers and 2 KC-135 tanker planes over the neutral waters of the Black Sea. Now, with all of that said, On Thursday, President Putin said the Western-backed military development of Ukraine posed a threat to Russia. The comments followed 2 days after the U.S.
See, this is what we're looking for right here, man. Hold on. Salakia. This what we're looking at, man. This what we're looking for, man. Poses a threat to Russia. Putin condemns Western military support for Ukraine. Hey, these devils go in all these other countries and they have no business there, man. Well, the prophecy is this devil is going to rule by the sword, man. And see, that's crazy because you see, you got their cousins, because Putin is a Job 9:24 as well, man. Well, he telling his cousin, hey, we got this over here, man. Stay in your land, man. Do what you do. Don't come over here trying to run nothing, man, because we're gonna have a problem. See, there's always been division amongst these devils, man. As a matter of fact, let me get this. There's always been a separation amongst these devils, man. What you think these the wars was about? With you had these civil wars, you had the little these revolution wars, right? You had the Spanish, French, what it was Spanish, French, and Babylon, man, right? You had the Spanish, French, and Britain, man, right? These are all Edomites, man. They've been fighting amongst each other for the longest, man. This is Ezekiel. These devils over here trying to colonize Babylon the Great, man. Who gonna be the one to colonize Babylon the Great, man? These devils is not on one accord, man. This is Salakia. This is Isaiah chapter 19 and 2, right? It reads, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, right? And they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. And that's what's going on, man. This is the Lord moving these chess pieces, man.
To Russia. The comments followed 2 days after the U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin staged a show of support for Ukraine and encouraged its aspiration to join NATO. Putin spoke to the journalists and Russian experts about Mr. Austin's visit to Ukraine when he said no third party could have the right to veto the country's hoped NATO membership.
Hey, this is major, man. For NATO to say reveals plans for nuclear war with Russia, this is major, man. Hey, when you read about in Revelation 7, when it said the angels is holding back the four winds, what you think that's talking about, man? Everything is finna break loose at one time. Once the elect get sealed, the famine, the pestilence, the concentration camps, the martial law, all these things, the charagma, that all these things is gonna break loose at one time, man. One after another. And all hell on earth, man. The angels is holding back the winds. Don't you know that what the angels is holding back, that pressure is building up, man. That's pressure, man.
Which paved the way for Ukraine to join. Putin has suggested that Russia's interests were targeted. He stated that formal membership of Ukraine in NATO may not take place, but military development of the territory is already underway. And he said that this really poses a threat to Russia. And we are.
And then China, I did a video a few days ago. China told North America to meet them in the air, man. What it said, what is battle gonna take place at, man? What it say? And there was war in heaven, man. Meaning well in the skies, man. Right? With their jets, their stealth bombers. They got a jet that look like that. It look like a Dorito chip. They call it the TR-3B. It turns like on a dime, on a 3-point dime. The Lord is giving them that technology, man. China told North America to meet them in the air, man. These are rumors of war. This is prophecy, man.
Are aware of that. In speaking to media on Thursday, Russia's deputy foreign minister said that Ukraine's accession to NATO would be an extremely dangerous step. Now, finally, it reports that a Ukrainian diplomat told
Look at the bottom of the screen. It say Salakia. I don't pause. It say Moscow. It say it's diplomat. They mention how if you see the bottom of the screen,
that any
it talks about a Cold War,
Ukraine
man.
and Russia would cause
Look at that.
unpredictable consequences for the European security.
Moscow
The
say
diplomat said that I think an escalation between Russia and
exclusion of
Ukraine
its
is highly
diplomats
possible. Now, with that said, the
has
Times is
made
also reporting that the
tensions
UK
worse
is in
than
talks
in
with
the
Ukraine
Cold
to sell
War.
weapons amid fears that
UN
Russia
will die the
intends to
same
utilize the
day
gas
Putin
crisis to
issued.
seize
Man, come on,
territory. The
man.
new arms deal will involve Britain providing
Come on,
Ukraine
man.
with surface to surface missiles. Now, European nations have previously backed Ukraine,
Putin
but
issues
Britain is the first to
ominous
sell arms
warning
to the
as
country.
Russia
Now, in the
rejects
meantime, top
security.
defense
Come
chiefs
on,
from
man.
NATO member states has given a green light to a new
Hey,
grand
it's about to go
strategy
down,
on
man.
how to beat Russia in any potential all-out conflict. On Thursday, ministers met in Brussels to sign off on a
See?
scheme
See
named
it
the
on the
Concept
screen?
for Deterrence and Defense in the Euro.
NATO unveils master plan to defeat Russia in nuclear war. As Moscow says, what I say, confrontation? Let me see.
Atlantic area. According to NATO's
Confrontational
General
playbook
Secretary,
showed
it
it
is
was
part of
right
efforts
to
to
cut
continue to
ties.
strengthen their
See that?
alliance with better and modernized plans. The bloc's officials insist that they don't believe an attack is imminent, but that it is worthwhile being prepared in any case. It goes on further to report that as part of the plan, NATO troops would fight against Russia's forces in both the Baltic region and across the Black Sea. The battle plans also focus on non-conventional warfare, including the use of nuclear weapons, cyber attacks, and even conflict in space. However, the Kremlin press secretary hit out at the adoption of the strategy on Friday, saying that it shows that there is no prospect for turning around rock bottom relations with the bloc. He stated that there is no need for dialogue under these conditions. Of such a concept by NATO confirms it once again. And according to him, this alliance was not created for peace. It was conceived and created for confrontation. Now, defending the measures, Stoltenberg told reporters earlier this week that the bloc welcomes the United States' efforts to really engage in meaningful strategic talks with Russia over the extension of the New START atomic weapons treaty, saying that some important steps have been taken recently. But he did add that the relationship between NATO and Russia is at its lowest, and in fact, its lowest point since the end of the Cold War. And the reason for that, he said, is because of Russian behavior. Now, Russia's foreign ministry spokeswoman hit out at Stoltenberg's comments, saying that NATO's boss underestimates the scale of the problem in relations, and that ties between the two are actually in a state worse than any point during the darkest days of the Cold War. So, definitely some very high tensions between NATO and Russia. And not only NATO and Russia, but China and the US. Certainly sounds like wars and rumors of wars. But I would like to move on to one last report, and this actually just came out yesterday. Apparently, the United States Army and Navy had successfully tested 3 hypersonic weapon prototypes, according to the Pentagon, and the components will be integrated into a hypersonic missile system set to go live in 2022. The test took place on the same day that Joe Biden admitted that he was concerned about Chinese hypersonic weapons capabilities. But Beijing has mocked the United States' worried
Look at
response to
that.
China's weapons.
You can't say Revelation chapter 9. Matter of fact, let's read it. That's why we keep telling you about these missiles, man. These intercontinental ballistic missiles. Look at that, man. This is Revelation 9. You see? Things for example, man. This is Revelation 9 and 16. It reads, and the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. And this same vision that John the Revelator saw, Joel saw the same vision, man. When you read Joel chapter 2, they both saw the missiles, man. They said they saw horsemen and men sitting on them as they was going out to battle, man. Talking about these intercontinental ballistic missiles. It say Revelation 9 and 16. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. And I heard the number of them. And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire, and of jacinth, and brimstone, and the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, to the warheads, and out of their mouths issue fire and smoke and brimstone. By these three was a third part of men killed, right? Which is who? The sons of the wicked. By the fire, and by the smoke, and by the brimstone, which issued out of their mouths. For their power is in their mouth, the warheads, and in their tails, For their tails were like unto serpents. What you see this missile go shooting off? The missile shooting off. So what's coming behind it? It's the smoke trail. It looked like what? A serpent, man. this is this is John describing the missiles to the best of his ability, man. Because during that time, the best war strategy was when they fought against the field, or both sides of the field, man. There wasn't no missiles back then. So this was the best way he can describe. They say for their power is in their mouth and in their tails, because the missiles get propelled. For their tails were like unto serpents, and had heads, and with them they do hurt. This is like a serpent, man.
Development, with the editor-in-chief of the Chinese State Media Group suggesting on Thursday that Washington return to the
And why do nations test their missiles, man? Listen, this is to show your power, man. This is to show you what you got. Russia do it, North Korea do it, China done did it. This is to show what you got, man. Saying what? We ain't weak no more, man. As scripture say, we're not weak anymore. We got the same missiles that you got. So here you go, North America. They're supposed to have the biggest military on the planet. Why they got to stunt their missiles? The world know you got the biggest military, allegedly. So why you got to stunt your missiles? This is them saying, okay, we got missiles too. We already know that. The other nations already know you got over 800 military bases around the world. Why do you got to stunt your missiles? U.S. Army and Navy successfully test 3 hypersonic weapons prototypes. For what? The world know that North America, Babylon the Great, allegedly had the best military on the planet. Why you got to stunt? What you stunting for? You don't got to prove no point, because you do got a point to prove, because they have become weak now, man. And the other nation are becoming strong. So they got to show we got missiles too, even though the world know you got missiles. But as this guy from RT News, his name Mike Maloof, he always going into how Russia has the best missile defense system, man. If Russia shoot a missile off to Babylon the Great, he said himself that North America couldn't detect the missiles that Russia shoot off, man. I did a lesson on it last year, about a year or two ago. Russia had way more missiles than any other country on the planet, man.
Cold War era of mutually assured destruction doctrine of deterrence, based on the rationale that neither side would strike first, knowing that the other had the capacity to wipe out its enemy. Now, this particular jibe came in response to a new Financial Times report.
And what's that right there? That's from the mushroom clouds, man. That's in Isaiah 34, man. Mushroom clouds from the missiles when they hit, man.
Claiming that China had conducted 2 missile tests during the summer, not just one, as the paper had originally reported. So, definitely some very interesting news there. I don't know, maybe it's me, but have you noticed that within the last few months, and I've said this before, but these nations are kind of doing whatever they want to do? There's no longer any fear or respect of the United States. And we can only wonder why. But I'm just going to leave that right there.
So let me pull up this other clip I got. Come back to me. I got one more clip I'm going to show. Hey, because these devils, man, these devils is done, man. Babylon is about to be destroyed by intercontinental ballistic missiles, man. And if you don't believe it, it doesn't matter, man. Hey, what Romans 3:3 say? What if some did not believe, man? It doesn't matter if you don't believe. Now check this out. Now this is Russia and China patrolling the Pacific, man, together. It say Russia and Chinese warships joined for the first ever joint patrol mission in Pacific. Check this out, man. And just the other day, I did a video on this either Wednesday or Thursday. They said that one of Russia warships ran off one of U.S. warships, man. How about that? Because they was too close, man. chapter 9 and 5. For every battle the warriors with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. But this, World War III, shall be with burning and fuel of fire. From what? Intercontinental ballistic missiles, man. The Lord got the spirit on these people to make these missiles, to use them, man, for World War III. He tell you that in Isaiah 54 and 16. The Lord said he created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, that created an instrument for his works, and he have created a waster to destroy. Well, when you go to Jeremiah 50, the Lord said these are his weapons, man. This is Jeremiah 50 in verse 25. The Lord Yahweh have opened his armory and have brought forth the weapons of his indignation. For this is the work of the Lord Yahweh Shemawashah power of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans, man. These are the weapons of Yahweh Shemawashah, man. Let's get this in Isaiah 13. There's Isaiah 13 in verse 5. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. This is coming from Yahweh Yahushua, man. The weapons of his indignation, man. So you got these jakes that are still talking about ain't no missiles. Wow. Oh yeah, this from the brother measured out the time diligently. He put this up. Hey, so Tawada to that brother for that. So get a few of these precepts, man. We're gonna close out. This is Jeremiah 50 and 9. As it is a precept to Ezekiel 38. Matter of fact, let's read that. This is Ezekiel 38 and 1. And we're gonna keep going over these precepts, man. Over and over and over, man. Speaking prophecy into existence. Because it's already gonna play out. The Lord just got men to bring it out, man. It was already written beforehand, before time, man. It say, and the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus said the Lord Yahweh power, behold, I am against thee, O God, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. And Putin said it's gonna be worse than the Cold War, man. He said, I will put hooks into thy jaws, meaning what? To turn them back to that old Soviet Union war mentality, that war mind state, man. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth. It said, I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Persia, which is the Iran, Ethiopians and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Now, if you know about prophecy, there's nothing new under the sun. How did the ancient Babylon go down? It went down by the Medo and Persian Empire. Who are the Medo and Persian empires today? It's Russia and Iran, man. The same nations playing out all over again, man. There's nothing new under the sun. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them. All of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the North Quarter. This is Turkey. So you got Iran and Turkey, Ethiopia and Libya. These nations, it said, a company and all his bands and many people with thee. Be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. This is Jeremiah 50 and 9. Precept to that. It reads, For lo, I will raise and cause it come up against Babylon, an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence shall she be taken. Their arrows, their missiles shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. So when we read Obadiah 1 and 7, it said, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee to the border. Now, this is Revelation 17 and 16. This prophecy have to play out, man. You see, it said to come against Babylon, man. Babylon the Great, North America, all the allies is going to separate from this place, man. They're already tired of them, but the Lord got the spirit on them to stay joined to it until appointed a time, man. It say Revelation 17 and 16, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her naked, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. For power, Yahweh Shemawashah have put in their hearts. Who? The horns, the 7 heads and the 10 horns. For power have put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and to give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of Yahweh Shemawashah shall be fulfilled. What's the words of the Lord being fulfilled, man? What's the words? Prophecy. The elect had to get sealed, and prophecy, as it's playing out, the elect have to be sealed first, man. Let's get this. This is 2nd Ezra 4 and 37. By measure have he measured the times. By measure have he measured the times, and by number have he numbered the times, and he doeth not move nor stir them until the said measures be fulfilled. So these measures have to be fulfilled, man. Let's read this again. Revelation 17 and 17. For power have put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and to give that kingdom unto the beast until the words of power shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great, and the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth, man. So what is this? It's prophecy playing, man. Wars, rumors of wars, man. These nations is preparing themselves to come against the whore, man. This is Joel 3 and 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. That's all these nations, man. To do what? They say beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Pruning hooks and plowshares are tools used for cropping, agriculture. But the Lord saying, what? Take that money and invest it in intercontinental ballistic missiles and your military power. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Let me see what's going on. It's actually, what did he say? It's actually a point I found on another channel today. Is confirmation day. My apologies, I honestly got excited like a lot of people. What this guy talking about, man? Anyway, so this is prophecy playing out, man. He got it. This is prophecy playing out. So, hey, this is again it say, be your plowshare in the swords and the pruning hooks and the spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O power, O Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua, to do what? To put the spirit on these guys, man. The Lord uses his angels to put the spirit on these devils, man. This is another one in Isaiah 14. Isaiah 14 and verse 10. It reads, all they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? So now we see in Babylon the Great, North America, becoming weak like these other nations, man. And what it is the Lord has given these other nations missiles and nuclear capability, right? So now the other nations are becoming strong like North America, man. So now it's a balance out, right? What the Lord say? This is Isaiah, no, Shalakia. This is Proverbs 11:1. A false balance is abomination to the Lord Yahweh, but a just weight is his delight, right? Let's get this in Proverbs 16:11. A just weight and balance are the Lord's. All the weights of the bag are his work. So now the other nations got missiles. Everybody got military power. So now it's a balance. Now, what's it saying? Hey, they got their money up. Now it's time to go to war, man. We just sitting back watching prophecy play out, man. Cause now here come a famine, man. Now famine coming. Hey, famine coming and pestilence coming and martial law. Hey, this is all around the corner, man. It's all playing out. We see what's going on. So for them that's in the know, hey, stay prayed up, man. But this thing about to get serious, man. So let me get this. This is Isaiah 13:17, and it reads, Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them. And who took down the Babylonian Empire? It was the Medes and the Persians, man. Right? They came together as one. Today, that's Iran and Russia, man. And Russia have much interest in Iran because of their oil, man. And these devils, these Babylonian devils trying to go get, they want their oil, man. You could believe that. Isaiah 13:17, Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Why? Because you devils ain't have no fruit on. You ain't have no pity on us, man, on the old or the young. So the Lord doing the same thing to you with your own people. It say, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb, that I shall not spare children. Why? Because these devils didn't spare us, man. Old, young, they it didn't matter who it was, man. When it came to so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians, these devils went overboard on us, man. So the Lord gonna have these other nations to go overboard on you. Verse 19, and Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, just like in ancient time, the glory of kingdoms, which today, Babylon the Great, North America, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees Exodus shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, man. How did he overthrow Sodom and Gomorrah? With fire, man. And it shall never be inhabited. And we know in the ancient Babylon, which is in Iraq right now, it's being inhabited today, man. So this ain't talking about North America, Babylon the Great, man. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelled in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. So you see, this North America, this Babylon the Great, is going to be destroyed and will never rise again, man. Hey, so Lord was edifying. You got to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rekah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who teach well, who are the apostles and elders of all of Israel, whether they can accept it or not. In a sincere salutation to all the can pushing this truth and believing this truth to the four ends of the earth, the entire world, waking up the whole leg. And shalom to the hot walk who are listening and learning, the few sisters who are listening and learning. Lord was edifying. Till next time I say shalom, wa abba. Now I'm going to close with this precept. This is Daniel 2:40. And the fourth kingdom, because who we dealing with? We dealing with the revised Roman Empire. North America is the revised Roman Empire, Babylon the Great. It's Daniel 2:40. And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron is breaking in pieces, and subdue all things. And as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet and the toes of the statue, right? The Lord showed Daniel the statue, right? Daniel was at the head of the statue. What the Lord tell Daniel in Daniel chapter 12? That he had to come back again and prophesy all over. And Daniel was at the head of the statue at that time. Now we at the feet of this thing, man. It say, and whereas thou sawest the feet and the toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. That's why they're not on one accord, man. These devils has never been on one accord, man. They had to leave from where they was at. Why? Because of the separation. When the conquistadors and Spaniards came over here, man, right? These Freemasons, they had to leave from where they was at. Where they left, they left their people, man. There's a separation, man. It's cause they do all different manners of wickedness, man. And where thou sawest the feet and the toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And what happened? The Brexit. Great Britain broke off from Babylon the Great, right? It say, and whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. It's talking about the seeds of the wicked, shall mingle themselves with the seeds of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with miry clay. So though we see these nations mingling, they hate this devil, man. The sons of the wicked is hated of the sons of the seeds of men. The seed of the wicked is hated from the seed of the men, man, because they got a different spirit, man. And that's why the Lord had to make these. Hey, the gave devil the blessing to rule the earth by the sword, man. He had dominion. He had the power of the earth, man. And he just pulled up with the sword and said, "Hey, you gonna get down with us, or you gonna lay down?" And the Lord put a spirit on these nations to do what? We gonna get down with you until what? Until the words of Yahweh shall be fulfilled, and then these devils gonna turn on these devils, man. The seed of men is gonna turn on the seed of the wicked, man. And we watching it play out, man. So call out Yahweh Shema Shah. The water for tuning in. May Yahweh Shema Shah continue to bless you in your houses. Stay prayed up. Until next time, I say Shalom. Wa Abba Babal.